Vision Changers, transforming lives.
Welcome to VCK Podcast. My name is Vincy. VCK stands for Vision Changers Kenya, which works with communities in vulnerable areas such as Karibangi, Mukuru, to solve issues that relate to social justice, gender equality, with the aim of eradicating poverty and giving resilient livelihoods. With me today is a lawyer, a mother. I'm somebody who's very passionate about social change and helping women and children in the communities that we serve. So I'd love her to introduce herself and say more. I don't want to give her so many hats.
My name is Joy Kulola, as you've heard, and I'm the programs manager at Vision Changers Kenya. And I am very glad to be here today to see the start of this beautiful podcast that we'll be talking about so many things that involve the communities that we work with. And just to say something just very brief about me is that I'm very passionate about women and girls. And so I'm very excited to have this conversation today as I'll be led.
So maybe just to give us a brief background of what VCK is about, we know that we have stood for social issues to do with social justice and poverty eradication in the societies that we serve, right? Yeah. So maybe just from your perspective, what's your personal vision that drives you to be in VCK and to do what we do in the communities that we serve?
Okay, my personal vision as Joy is there are so many problems that people in the communities that we serve in actually face. And I think all of them tie to the issue of poverty. That is the number one issue that affects people in the communities. And so for me as an individual, I look forward to a day whereby people in these communities are able to live a life that is a dignified life, to say, that any other common mwananchi outside here gets to live. That they're not being alienated, or rather they're not being at a place where they're disadvantaged, because whatever issues they're facing are normal issues that anyone can face. And they also have the rights like any other person has rights, be it proper sanitation, be it education, be it health facilities, all these things that they are facing on a daily are some of the things that I feel like every human being is entitled to a dignified life. And so, according to me, even the people that we serve in these communities are entitled to this dignified kind of life. So, marrying it into the work that we do as Vision Changers Kenya is, I feel like what I envision as an individual actually marries into the organization's vision to ensure that at the end of the day that there's eradication of poverty and also that people in the community live a dignified life. Thank you.
I think from my take, as a youth in this society, I've seen so many people who are going through challenges, be it unemployment, living in areas that are just deplorable. Like, I remember we had a session last time when we were in the field where we had some of our members tell us that they don't even have sanitary equipment, that is toilets. They don't even have places where they can have that privacy when you know that privacy you seek when you go to the toilet, such things don't really exist in the communities that we serve, and it really, really hurts me. So I think for me, my personal inspiration and vision for Vision Changers is to ensure that the youth that we are dealing with today become the change of tomorrow. And I feel like that is what drove me to taking this career also in the first place, because I also want to see that our societies change. I don't want to be in the same position that we are in currently, and I feel like there's a lot that we can do even in the NGO space, not necessarily as Vision Changers, but in the NGO space. But that begs to question, do you think that what we do really, really just touches base on what VCK wants the future to look like? I don't know if I'm putting this question correctly, but do you think that VCK's impact matches with the vision that we have, be it tomorrow, be it 50 years from now? I don't think we'll be here 50 years from now, but I think, yes, in the long term, do you think that what we are currently doing is going to lead up to that impact that we want to see, you as Vincy, you as Joy and I as Vincy?
Yeah, I would say yes, because even as you look at the programs that we have tailored are more of impact-based. We are not just doing projects for the sake of it, but our main agenda or our main focus is to ensure that the programs and the projects that we are doing across board actually do have impact. And one of the ways to look at it is over time we've been able to collect stories of change, just getting to listen to the people that we've worked closely in the communities, what they have to say about the projects that we're running, and to see people being able to. I would give an example. A while back, I think a few months back, I was in Umoja 3, and I was leading a session. It was a focus group discussion vis-a-vis a community filming session. And I remember after us doing that film, I went ahead and asked guys in that, the participants in that room, what the level of education they had gotten into. And I remember us having that conversations, and one of the young adults, I'll not call them children because they're about their teenage, said that they got to Form 2, and that was like their maximum height, and they were content to the fact that they got to Form 2 and dropped out, and they're very comfortable. They told me, that is my Form 4 for me. Like, I am so done with secondary education. And I remember asking them, so do you feel like you deserve better opportunities in terms of you complaining about unemployment? And one of the things to look at, even as we seek to address this issue of unemployment, is education. So if you go to school, get learned, and get all the certification, of course it gives you a better chance in life in terms of you getting employment. So I posed that question, and his response was, but there are so many people who are educated, but they still don't have jobs. So I asked him, so you better not go back to school because there are people outside there who don't have jobs yet yet they are educated, or you'd rather have that certificate as you wait for employment. So he sat down and really took time to think. And I remember after the session, he came and told me, by the way, it actually makes sense to go back to school. It's rather, I have that certificate as I am waiting for that employment, or rather as I'm actively looking for work, as opposed to not having. And when someone asks me, do you have a Form 4 certificate? I don't have. So I remember him looking at me and telling me, you've actually challenged me to think. And I think the best thing that I can do for myself is to actually go back to school. This is to just say, to get back to your question and say that we are not just going into those communities and showing face. We are also involving these participants, or rather the people that we are interacting with on a daily, to ensure that there is a change in their mindset, number one, and also how they definitely perceive things. Because you see, for them, they are already at a disadvantage. So they feel like they don't have much to offer, yet they have so much to offer, and they have so much to live for. So for us, if we're able to inspire one person, inspire the next person, and at the end of the day, the community gets to get empowered, or rather inspired to become better agents of change, that is already a plus. So if I look at it from the perspective of maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, do we feel like we'll be having the impact that we desire? Yes, we definitely have. Because from these people that we're interacting with, we're able to see there's that mindset shift. There's also that self-drive that people are becoming, that they're actually becoming willing to go out and change their lives, to become better. And also something else that I've actually noted is them also being willing to actually speak about their problems and finding solutions for their problems by themselves. Even as we go to the communities, we are not pushing for that drive that we are the ones that have the solutions. No, we do not have the solutions. But also working closely with the community members to ensure that they understand their problems and they understand the systems that they have in place to actually change the problems. Yes.
I get you. The one thing that I've gotten is you want us to be the change.
Yes.
So we are being the change that we want to see. So I think if I can add on to what you've just said, I remember when I had one of our focus group discussions with our youth sometime in mid-August, one of the youth stood up and challenged the chief and the area representative that was there and asked, what are you doing about this environment? Like, I go out today and I see garbage all over. I can't even buy chapos because it's dirty. What if I get sick? And I didn't ask to be born where I'm born, but I don't want to continue living this life. I want change. But if I can't get my MCA here, if I can't get my MP here to see what I'm going through, then who is going to fight for me? That's why I've chosen to fight for myself. And I got really inspired. I was like, wow, so we are actually doing something. Because if you can recall, a few months back, some of these youth were very quiet. Like, they just sit down, they'd not talk, they'd look at us, and they just, when you were about to leave, they just ask, so rada ni gani? Like, mekuja, so what's the plan? And we just look at them and be like, oh, we'll be back. Then I remember there's one who said, you guys say these things all the time and you go and you never come back. But we've seen the narrative change, because when you go to the field and you tell them, oh, we are back, they're like, hey, we were waiting for you. Actually, while you were away, we did A, B, C, D. And for me, that's good. I feel empowered and encouraged when I see people my age, people younger than me, challenging me and telling me, you need to be better, because I'm striving to be better because you're telling me to be better. So for me to be better, you also have to be better.
There's that narrative over time that these people from the community have nothing good coming out of them. And I like the bit that you've talked about, the aspect of them owning up to the changes, or rather the social change that you're fighting for. Them being in those spaces that they're saying, you left last time, but we've been able to do A, B, C, D. We've been able maybe to do a clean drive. We've been able to meet up and do discussions around the challenges that we're facing as youths. So that also means that they just need someone to stir up something in them for them to actually think in a different way, so that they're not seeing themselves as criminals, they're not seeing themselves as less advantaged or marginalized people, but they're beginning to see themselves as human beings that deserve to be heard in these spaces, and also being able to raise their voices in these spaces. That's very, very nice.
Maybe just to ask this question, how do you feel when we have, there's this time where we took some people to the field and they actually saw the tool we use, which is the table tennis, of course, and we've seen how people play the game, and they've seen people engaging and loving it. And you remember the first time we took the table there, everyone was like, this game is for rich kids, man. Why are you bringing this game to us? But the way they've embraced it and they love it, and they're even asking us to bring people to challenge them, I think for me that's actually so, it's fun. So, first of all, do you know how to play table tennis?
Well, I would say I am trying. I can kick the ball here and there, but definitely I would not get even in maybe in 2 to 3 minutes. But also I'm challenging myself to actually do better in terms of learning the game, because even when I get to the field, they also challenge me, Joy, come here, let's play together. And I realized all the other time I keep, not performing well. But I'm also trying to challenge myself, especially when I get down to the field, to ensure before I leave, I get to play with them. So they laugh, take videos of me, and tell me, you can do this better. Oh, no, 2 minutes later, you see, you're doing better. So they also challenge me to practice and become better. So I'm hoping to definitely get better at it as time goes by.
Do you think that the approach we've taken through sport is something that we can further explore? Because I feel like, yes, there's table tennis, but we can actually do so much more. We can actually use so many other forms of sport to encourage this youth. Not the mainstream sport, what people are used to, the football. I think we can be actually very innovative. I remember, now this one, I'm going to bring it back close to home. A game like Kati or Rounders. Can you imagine how fun it would be to engage a group of women in a game of Kati? Then we sit down and have a discussion about the issues that they are facing and how we can best address that issue. It can really spark up that conversation, because it'll be fun, it'll be engaging, and we'll have brought up so many memories of people playing way back when they were little, when they used to go to school and acheza ronda, then they come back home. That feeling of homey is what I feel is what VCK has brought to me. So I feel like that is something I'd really want to share with the entire community. But now, actually, on the topic of women, now that I've actually touched on it, one thing that I've loved as an employee of this organization is the fact that we've broken the glass ceiling, in that we do not embrace masculinity in terms of who should be in leadership. Should it be a man? Should it be a woman? We do not say that our senior leaders should be women or should be men, but there's that neutrality in the space that we work, such that each of us is given an opportunity to grow. And I think ever since I came on board, So that's something I've admired. The approach that VCK has taken to make sure that women are being heard internally, even externally, that women are being heard, women are being given opportunities to change the narrative. And the fact that our founder believes in us and says, you have a more empathetic approach to the field that I love. That's what I want to see moving forward. He doesn't want the mainstream boring boardroom talk, but he encourages us to be creative and all that. Do you think that is something that should be embraced more in the NGO space?
Definitely, I would say yes. Because I'm not here to talk about men, though, on a bad light, but there's just a way that women have been wired naturally, that we are very empathic human beings. How men tend to be more of critical thinkers, but women are very empathic. Our way of thinking and our way of figuring things out is quite different, and our approaches are very different. So, how I would see an issue is definitely not the same as my male counterpart or colleague would see it. And even the approaches on how they would definitely address the issue might be different. And I also appreciate the fact that VCK has focused a lot more on ensuring that women are empowered, even as we fight for the rights of women and young girls in these communities, that at an organizational level, that we have women internally as part of our staff team that are coming on board with these dynamic ideas and ideologies to actually start change in these communities. So this is a very good approach that I would definitely support, and also I look forward to us getting to that space. However, at the moment we only have 2 men, and of course the field officers, but majority of us are women. That is one thing that I really like about VCK, and I feel like that's a very good approach. More so, even as we're handling issues concerning women and girls, they're best handled by women themselves. Because today, even as we talk about SRHR projects, a man would talk about it, yes, but a woman is best to talk about it, because if we're talking about menstrual health today and hygiene, a man cannot definitely go into the details to explain about how to, carry yourself out as a woman and how to clean up and all these kind of things when you're dealing with menstrual health. But a woman is better placed to talk about these issues, because they directly affect them, and they've affected them for very many years. So for me, I'm almost 30 now. Definitely, when I talk about menstrual health hygiene issues, when I talk to a young girl who is 12, I have experience over time to say, I began my periods maybe at the age of 16, and this is how I did. This is how I do maybe clean up. This is how I change my pads over time, and such kind of things. But you see, a man cannot come and talk about, he might be passionate about issues concerning women, but definitely there's a clear distinction between a woman addressing the issues and a man addressing the issues. So the approach that we've taken as Vision Changers Kenya to bring a lot of women on board who are very passionate about women issues or other community-led issues is very good. And I so look forward to the continuity of the same. Yeah.
That's the one thing that I really, really love about working with VCK, is the fact that every woman inside and outside gets their voice heard, which is something I've noticed is also not very appreciated. We can go from a national level, even in the communities that we've seen it. We saw the outburst that happened in Parliament when Senator Roba walked in with a stained trouser, and how people said that she should handle herself like a woman. And she was trying to drive a point, because she was handling herself like a woman. It was a natural thing. But you see, people judged her and said, you're not supposed to do that, you're a leader. But that begs the question, what exactly should women do? What is the role of women in leadership? Because then, if a woman cannot have her menses in peace and she's had an accident, and instead of helping her, you make it into a public outroar, it's outrageous. So when you come back to the community level, there are also those instances where you see women trying to talk and men try and shush them and tell them, no, you're not supposed to be talking. Why are you talking? But you see, they're the ones who know their issues best. Like even on the issues on sanitation, I feel like a woman is best positioned to handle such a circumstance, because she knows, I use X amount of water in my house every day. My kids use Y amount of food in the house every day. So I need this. Then from that, I'll just ask, do you think that the perspective of feminism in the nation and globally has been misinterpreted? Because from my understanding, feminism was meant to empower women. It was meant to give women a voice to be heard. But what we see nowadays is people using femininity as a way, feminism as a way of attacking our femininity and saying that we are going against what our forefathers and foremothers taught us. Do you think that is something that has been misinterpreted? Do you feel like there's more we can do as women to change that narrative?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of misinterpretation or rather misrepresentation concerning feminism, because at any given point when you talk about you being a feminist, someone gives you that side eye of, like, okay, well, you say you're a feminist, but ideally, feminism is all about ending injustices by fighting for women's rights. So how I look at it for me is any woman that stands up to speak up about the injustices that affect women, or rather fight for women's rights, is already a feminist. So if you ask me if I'm a feminist, definitely I would say yes, because I champion for the rights of women and ensuring that we are being heard in breaking also the particular norms that have been in existence over very many years. And it's so sad to see that in this day and age, there's still continuity of the same, that women's voices are not being heard. And at any given point when a woman raises their voice, there's usually someone there on the side wanting to say, you know what, just keep quiet. Just talk in very low tones. You don't deserve to address these issues. You don't have that capacity. You don't have that knowledge. There's always something to be said negative about women speaking out for their rights. But one thing we need to understand is it's very important that women continue to voice their voices and to continue speaking about the issues that directly affect them, to ensure that we are being heard and also that our issues are being addressed.
So guys, we'll be taking a short break, but when we come back, tutakuwa tunaongelea vile nyinyi mnaweza kuwa change. Wewe mama mboga, wewe mse wa buda, wewe mwenye unauzanga mahindi, mse wa mtura, mse wa bezo wa mtura kwanza. We want to know what will you do for us? How can you be the change? Tunasemanga NGO ni wale watu wenye wanatusaidia au wanatusaidia, lakini mimi nataka kujua how will you help us help you better? So how do you become the change? Remember to like, subscribe and share. Follow all our social handles, they'll be on the caption below. And remember to use hashtag be the change, hashtag tuwajibike mtaani, hashtag simama sema usikike. Be the voice, ndio pia sisi tuweze kwa peo kipawa.
Vision changers, transforming lives.